My child, I want you to stop for a moment. Stop the scrolling, stop the planning, stop the running, and simply breathe. Because what I am about to say to you is not something you can receive while you are in motion. This message was not placed in front of you by accident. There is no such thing as coincidence in the kingdom of my love. You are here because I arranged this moment. I set this word before you because I know exactly where you are right now. Not just physically, but in the deep interior places of your heart where no one else is allowed to go. I know what has been pressing against your chest in the quiet. I know the questions you have not been able to voice. I know the weariness you carry even on the days when you manage to smile. And I am here to speak directly into all of it. You have been through a season that tested more than your patience. It tested your belief in me. I want you to know that I do not fault you for the questions that rose up inside of you. I do not fault you for the moments you felt distant from me or unsure of my goodness. I understand the frailty of the human heart. I designed it. And I know that when pain presses long enough, even the most faithful heart begins to wonder if I am still near. So let me answer that question before anything else. I am near. I have never stopped being near. Not for one breath, not for 1 second, not in your darkest night or your most confused afternoon. I have been present in every single moment of your life, including the ones that felt most forsaken. I need you to hear me today with your whole heart open, not the part of your heart that is cautious, not the part that has been hurt before and does not want to be hurt again. I need you to open the part that still believes, the part that still dares to hope, the tender place inside you that was made to receive my love and respond to my voice. That part of you is still alive. I know because I am the one who sustains it, and that is the part I am speaking to right now. So let down the walls for just this moment. Let my words reach you all the way through. Type, I am open, Lord, if you are ready to hear what I have for you today. My child, I want to talk to you about trust. Not the kind of trust that is easy when everything is going well, but the kind that holds firm when the ground beneath your feet feels unstable. That kind of trust is rare and it is precious, and I know it is not built overnight. You have been in situations that made trust difficult. You trusted people who let you down. You believed for things that did not come the way you expected. You prayed with sincerity, and then waited in silence that stretched longer than you thought you could bear. And somewhere in that long waiting, a small piece of your trust in me became fragile. I see it. I am not criticizing you for it. I am simply naming it, so that you know I see the truth of where you are and I love you still. But here is what I want you to understand. Every single thing that happened in that season of waiting, every delay, every disappointment, every unanswered question, none of it was me turning away from you. None of it was me withholding my goodness out of cruelty or indifference. I am not that kind of father. I have never been. Every moment of waiting that you endured was me working in the places you could not see. Behind the scenes of your life, in the hearts of people you have not yet met, in the details of plans so intricate that your natural eyes could not have tracked them, I was moving. I was arranging. I was preparing something for you that required a foundation that could only be built through the very seasons you resented. Do you know why I allow difficulty? Not to punish you, not because I am distant or uncaring. I allow it because I see the entirety of your story from beginning to end, and I know what kind of person you need to become to carry the weight of the blessings I am preparing to place in your hands. If I gave you everything you prayed for before you were ready, it would overwhelm you. It would not serve you. My love is too real to be careless with your life. So yes, there are times when I will let you wait. There are times when I will let you walk through valleys, not because I have forgotten you, but because I am shaping you in the valley for the mountain that is coming. So I am asking you today to make a decision to trust me even when you do not understand me, a decision to believe that my silence is not absence, that my delay is not denial, that my plan is still moving forward even when your eyes cannot confirm it. This is the kind of faith that releases heaven into your situation. Not a faith that only activates when things make sense, but a faith that holds on when nothing makes sense and says, I still believe you are good. Type, yes, I trust you if that is your declaration today. My child, I also want to speak to you about your identity, because I have watched the enemy work overtime to distort the way you see yourself. I have watched you accept descriptions of yourself that were never mine. You have believed lies told to you by people who were themselves wounded. You have internalized words spoken in anger or carelessness and built a small, quiet prison around your own heart. You have told yourself things like, I am too much, I am not enough, I always fail, I will never change, I do not deserve what I am asking for. And these words have become walls that keep you from stepping into what I have for you. Let me tell you who you are. You are not a mistake. You are not born into this world as an afterthought or a misprint. You were designed with intention. Every detail of who you are, your sensitivity, your depth, your capacity to feel things so deeply, your longing for something real and lasting, all of it was placed in you on purpose. I do not make accidents. I make people who carry within them a reflection of my nature, a glimpse of my love, a piece of my purpose in the earth. And that is what you are. You are a carrier of something this world needs. The enemy knows this. That is why he has worked so hard to convince you that you are ordinary, that you are damaged, that you are disqualified, but you are not disqualified. You are not defined by your worst moments. You are not the sum of your failures. You are not the version of yourself that your fears paint in the dark of night. You are the one I call by name. You are the one whose tears I have counted and kept. You are the one I thought of when I spoke life into existence. You are the one I had in mind when I designed the plans I am still preparing to unveil. Do not let the enemy steal your identity. Do not hand him that power. Rise up in the truth of who I say you are, and let that truth be louder than every lie that has been spoken. Over your life, say I am who God says I am if you are receiving this truth, right? Tawetuna, now I want to speak to you about something that may be uncomfortable, but that I must say, because I love you too much to leave it unsaid. There are things in your life that you have been holding on to, that I have been asking you to release. Some of them are habits that have become comfort, when you should be coming to me for comfort. Some of them are relationships that I have been gently pulling you away from, because they are taking you in a direction that is not aligned with my plans for you. Some of them are thought patterns, old wounds you return to again and again, replaying pain that was never meant to be your permanent residence. And some of them are simply things you fear letting go of, because even though they are not good for you, they feel familiar. And familiar feels safe even when it is slowly draining you. I need you to hear me with love when I say this. You cannot carry my future and your past at the same time. You cannot walk into the season I have prepared while still gripping the things I have been asking you to lay down. My hands are stretched toward you with something new, something better, something that will bring life to the parts of you that have gone dry. But to receive what I am offering, your hands must be open. And right now, some of them are closed tightly around things that have already served their purpose in your story. I am not asking you to do this alone. I know that releasing things is not as simple as just deciding. I know that wounds do not just disappear because you want them to. I know that certain patterns took years to build, and they will take intentional surrender to dismantle. But I am asking you to begin. I am asking you to bring those things to me, and to say, Lord, I do not want to carry this anymore. I want what you have for me, more than I want to hold on to what I know. That prayer changes things. That act of surrender opens a door that nothing else can open. And I am ready to walk through it with you the moment you say yes. Type release if you are willing to let go of what has been holding you back. My beloved, I want to pause here and remind you of something I said at the very beginning of time, and have been saying ever since in 1,000 different ways. I love you. Not the shallow version of love that comes and goes with mood or behavior. Not the conditional love that disappears when you fall short. Not the distant love that applauds you from far away and walks away when things get hard. I love you with a love that went to the cross. A love that counted the cost of your freedom and paid it in full. A love that sees the worst of you and does not flinch. A love that will pursue you to the ends of the earth and call your name in the quiet of the night, if that is what it takes to bring you home. You have been searching for this kind of love in places it cannot be found. In the approval of people who are themselves broken, in achievements that fade, in relationships that sometimes deliver and sometimes disappoint, in the mirror on the days when you feel like enough, and in despair on the days when you do not. None of those things can give you what you are actually looking for, because what you are looking for is me, the deep longing in your chest, that ache that never fully goes away no matter what you try to fill it with. That is the shape of my presence. That is the space that was built for me and for me alone. I am not saying other relationships are not important. I am not saying success and achievement are worthless. I am saying that without me at the center, nothing else can deliver what it promises. But with me at the center, everything else begins to find its right place. Relationships become richer, because they are no longer carrying the impossible weight of being your ultimate source. Work becomes more meaningful because it is no longer your identity but your assignment. Even your struggles become purposeful because you stop carrying them alone and begin walking through them with me beside you. I want to be your center. I want to be the voice you hear first in the morning and the presence you rest in at night, not out of obligation, not as a religious routine, but because of genuine closeness, because I am real and I am here, and our relationship is the most important thing in your life. Everything else you carry will be lighter when this is true. Come back to me as your center. You have been operating from the edges of your own effort for too long. Type "You are my center, Lord," if this resonates in your spirit. My child, I want to speak now about the battles you have been facing, because I know it has not been easy. There are spiritual forces that have been working against you, against your peace, against your family, against your health, against your purpose. And some of the warfare has been so subtle that you did not even recognize it as warfare. You thought it was just bad luck. You thought it was just life being hard. But I want to open your eyes today to the reality that there is an enemy who sees the potential in you and is afraid of it. There is an adversary who knows that when you walk fully in your purpose, the impact you will have in the earth threatens his agenda. And so he has been working to discourage you, distract you, drain you, and diminish your belief in what I have called you to. But here is what you must know. The enemy is not as powerful as he has appeared. He operates through deception and fear and confusion. He cannot do anything about the plans I have for you. He cannot override my will for your life. He cannot steal a blessing I have decreed for you. All he can do is try to convince you to walk away from it yourself. His only weapon is your agreement. If you stop agreeing with his lies, he loses his influence. If you begin to walk in the authority I have placed in you, he must bow. If you stay close to my voice and follow my leading, he cannot touch the things I have reserved for you. So I am calling you to rise up today, not in your own strength, but in mine. Rise up knowing that greater is the one who lives in you than the one who moves through this world. Rise up knowing that no weapon formed against you will prosper. Not because you are perfect, but because I am your covering and I do not abandon the ones I have called. The battles you have been facing are real, but they are not bigger than me. And I have not brought you this far to leave you defeated at the finish line. The enemy is loud right now because he can see that your breakthrough is close. That is not a reason to shrink back. That is a reason to press forward with more faith, not less. Rise and say the battle belongs to the Lord if you believe that your victory is already secured. Now let me speak to you about what is coming. And I want you to listen carefully because these are not empty words of comfort. These are declarations over your life rooted in my nature and my faithfulness toward you. What is coming will not look like what you expected. That is not a warning, it is a blessing. Because what I have for you is bigger than your expectations. You have been thinking small, not out of lack of faith, but because you have been measuring my ability by what you have seen before. But I am not limited to your categories. I am not confined to doing what makes natural sense. I am the God who parts seas, who brings water from stone, who calls the dead to life and makes a way where there is no way. And I am that same God in your situation right now. I am sending provision that will not come from where you are looking. I am opening doors in walls you thought were solid. I am connecting you to people who carry pieces of your destiny and who are even now being positioned in your path. I am healing things in you that you had accepted as permanent. Old pain, old wounds, the parts of your heart that went quiet because they were too tired to hope anymore. I am breathing life back into those places. What you thought was over is not over. What you thought was too late is not too late. What you thought was lost is not beyond my reach. I am also preparing you for increase. Not just financial increase, though that is included, but increase in wisdom, in clarity, in influence, in the depth of your relationships, in your understanding of your purpose. I am calling you higher, not because you have it all together, but because I am calling you as you are, and I will complete what I have begun in you. The process is not over. In fact, it is entering a new and more beautiful chapter. But to receive what is coming, you must prepare your heart. You must be a person who walks closely with me. You must guard your peace. You must be slow to take on offense and quick to forgive. You must keep your eyes on me rather than on the circumstances that compete for your attention. You must build a life that makes room for my voice, not just in the crisis moments, but in the ordinary days. This is how you position yourself to receive everything I am releasing. Type "I receive it" in faith if you are ready to step into what is coming. My child, I want to speak to you about the people in your life, because relationships are one of the most powerful arenas in which my plans for you are either advanced or delayed. You have prayed for specific people. You have prayed for restoration in some relationships and release from others. I hear those prayers and I am working in them. But I want to give you some wisdom today about how to walk in your relationships in this season. Some people in your life are assignments. They are people I have placed near you, not because you chose each other, but because I orchestrated your intersection for a purpose. They carry something you need, and you carry something they need. These relationships require patience and investment, and sometimes they will be inconvenient. But do not walk away from them. They are part of the design. Other people in your life are warnings. They are people whose patterns and tendencies, if you allow them to pull you deeply in, will drain your energy, distort your thinking, and take you off course. I am not asking you to be unkind to these people. I'm asking you to have wisdom. I'm asking you to love from a healthy distance when necessary. I'm asking you to stop trying to fix what only I can heal in them and to trust that I can take care of them without you being their savior. You are not called to carry everyone. Boundaries are not walls. They are wisdom. And then there are people who are coming, people who are not yet in your life but who are on their way. I am preparing connections, friendships, partnerships, and in some cases, relationships that will become some of the richest parts of your story. People who will understand you in ways no one currently does. People who will speak faith into you when you are low and celebrate with you when I bring you into your season of harvest. Do not settle for less in the meantime. Do not keep holding tightly to relationships that have run their course simply because loneliness feels worse than the wrong company. I am bringing the right people. Hold the space. Say, "I trust your plan for my relationships, Lord," if you are receiving this. I want to take a moment to speak to those of you who are exhausted, because I know that not everyone who hears this message is in a place of anticipation. Some of you are simply tired. You have been giving and giving and giving, pouring into family, into work, into your community, into other people, and somewhere along the way you forgot to come back to me to be refilled. And now you are running on empty. You are still doing the right things, but there is no joy behind them anymore. You are going through the motions because you do not know how to stop. You are afraid that if you rest, everything will fall apart. Let me say this to you very gently and very clearly. I am not calling you to endless striving. I never was. I did not design you for constant output without renewal. I created the concept of rest. I modeled it in the very structure of creation. I said, "Come to me, all who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest." That was not a poetic suggestion. It was an invitation. It was a promise. And I am making it to you again right now in this moment, with your specific exhaustion in mind. You do not have to be strong right now. You do not have to have it together. You do not have to pretend that you are fine when you are not. You can come to me exactly as you are, hollowed out and worn through, and I will meet you there. I will not ask you to bring anything. I will not demand performance. I will simply hold you. And in that holding, I will begin to restore what the long season of striving has depleted. I will give back your joy. I will give back your sense of purpose, not because you earned it, but because you came to the one who is the source of all of it. If you are tired today, type "I need your rest, Father," and receive it right now as a gift from my hand, my beloved. I need to speak to you about fear, because I know that underneath much of what you carry, underneath the delays and the hesitation and the holding back, there is fear. Fear that things will not work out. Fear that you will make the wrong choice. Fear that you will fail again. Fear of what people will say. Fear of the future. Fear that you are not strong enough for what is ahead. Fear that I will not show up the way you need me to. And fear, my child, is not from me. It never has been. It was never my design for you to live inside the walls of fear. I have given you a spirit of power, of love, and of a sound mind. Those three things together are the direct opposite of fear. Power to face what is ahead. Love to anchor you in the truth of who you are. A sound mind to think clearly and make wise decisions even in the midst of uncertainty. This is your inheritance. Not anxiety, not dread, not constant low-level terror that something will go wrong. That is not a life, and it is not what I died to give you. I want you to begin to identify the specific fears that have the most hold on your life. Name them. Bring them to me. Do not swallow them down and pretend they are not there. Fear that is unnamed grows in the dark. But when you bring it into my light and say, "This is what I am afraid of, and I am giving it to you," that fear begins to lose its grip. I am bigger than your fears. I have a solution for every situation you are dreading. I have a plan that accounts for every worst-case scenario you have imagined. And not one of those scenarios is beyond my ability to redeem. You do not have to live afraid anymore. That is not your future. That is not your identity. That is a cage the enemy built and left the door open on, and you have been choosing to stay inside because it feels familiar. But you were made for open skies. You were made for freedom. You were made to walk in confidence, not because you have everything figured out, but because you know the one who does. Step out of fear today and type, "I will not be afraid, for I know who holds my future." My child, I want to speak to you about your purpose, because there is something inside you that has been stirring, a sense that you were made for more than what you are currently living. A quiet voice that rises up in the middle of ordinary days and says, "There is something else, something bigger, something you were designed for that you have not yet stepped into." That voice is not wishful thinking. That voice is mine. And I am telling you that you are right. There is more. Your purpose is not one thing in one place at one time. It is a thread that runs through every season of your life and connects everything you have experienced into a tapestry that only I could design. The pain you have walked through is part of your purpose. It gives you the ability to sit with people in their pain without flinching. The seasons of lack are part of your purpose. They have given you a compassion for the vulnerable that prosperity alone could never produce. The failures are part of your purpose. They have humbled you and taught you things that success never could have. Everything has been purposeful. Nothing has been wasted. And now I am ready to begin unfolding the next chapter. I am ready to start connecting the threads in ways that will make sense for the first time. Things that happened years ago that you could not understand will suddenly make sense when you see how they fit into what is coming. People from your past will resurface with new meaning. Gifts you thought were irrelevant will suddenly be exactly what is needed. Experiences you were embarrassed about will become the very foundation of what I use you to build. But you have to be willing. You have to step forward. You have to stop waiting until you feel qualified. You will never feel qualified in your own strength. I do not call the equipped. I equip the called. And I have called you. The only question is whether you will answer. Type, "I say yes to my purpose," if you are ready to step into everything I have designed you for. My child, before I finish, I want to say one more thing, and I want you to hold it close. I am proud of you. Not because you have been perfect, not because you have never wavered. I am proud of you because you are still here. Because after everything you have been through, after every reason the enemy gave you to quit, you did not. You are still seeking. You are still reaching. You still showed up today to hear my voice. That is not nothing. That is everything. That is the kind of faith that moves mountains. I see the faithfulness you have shown in hidden places where no one was watching. I see the sacrifices you have made that no one recognized. I see the prayers you prayed in the middle of the night when everyone else was asleep. I see the times you chose integrity when no one would have known if you had not. I see the times you kept going when giving up would have been the easier and more understandable choice. I have seen all of it, and I want you to know that none of it has been invisible to me. Every seed you have sown in faithfulness is in my hands, and it is about to produce a harvest you have not imagined. This is not the end of your story, not even close. The chapters you have lived through, as hard as some of them have been, were only preparation. The pages ahead are full of things that will take your breath away. Moments of grace so clear you will not be able to question that it was my hand. Open doors so perfectly timed that you will weep with gratitude. Relationships so life-giving you will hardly believe you almost settled for less. Healing so complete that the old wounds will be only a testimony, no longer a weight. I am the God who has been with you since before your first breath. I was there in your beginning. I will be there in your ending. And every moment between belongs to me and to you together, if you will let me walk it with you. I am not asking for perfection. I am not asking for religion. I am asking for you. Just you, open-handed, willing to follow, willing to trust, willing to let my love do what human love never fully can. I have not let go of you. I will not let go of you. My grip on your life is stronger than anything that has tried to pull you away. And I am speaking to you today with everything I am to say. Come close. Stay close. Keep listening, because the best of what I have for you is not behind you. It is ahead. And I am walking into it with you step by step, word by word, breath by breath. Type I am yours. Lord, if you receive everything spoken over your life today, share this message with someone who needs to hear that they have not been forgotten. And remember, wherever you are, whatever you are facing, my voice has not stopped calling your name. I am here. I have always been here, and I always will be.